Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome to Physio Fridays. Today, we're going to talk about W sitting. In case you don't know, there are lots of kids that like to sit in a W position. So today, we're going to talk about what is it, why we don't particularly love it, and when you might need to get help for it. So first of all, what is a W sitter? So typically when you're sitting, let me fix this up a little bit. Kids will sit cross-legged, they'll sit legs straight out, side sitting, and here is the W sit. Okay, if you've ever tried this as an adult, it is very difficult to get in this position because most of us, our hips don't like it. So it is feet out wide here, and then sit your bottom in between those feet. That position is not ideal for a few reasons. One, it puts a lot of internal rotation on the legs, which can offset the hip joints. And over time, our bodies adapt to the stresses that we put on it. So as kids grow and adapt and learn, if they are always internally rotated with those legs, when they stand up, they have this positioning. Toes are in, knees are in. They might collapse a little bit and have some knee flexion. And they just don't use their muscles optimally because of their leg positioning, first of all. Second of all, when you sit in that position, the W position, except it's like this way, upside down W, that is a very wide base of support, very wide, which means very stable. Also, if you look at it, it creates a triangle, which if you know much about geometry, the triangle is the most stable shape in nature. It's the most stable shape you can have. So if I create a triangle with my base of support when I'm sitting, I don't have to work very hard to sit that way, which means that you don't use your muscles to support your body and your posture while you're doing that. It also makes it hard to reach outside of your base of support to get toys and to reach for different items and objects. If I can't reach outside of my base of support, it limits what toys I can get to, but it also does not work our core muscles here because I'm not reaching and coming back and twisting and turning. I'm just a happy camper. I'm stable, I'm a happy camper, and I don't have to work. I don't have to work to hold myself up, which we all like to the least amount of work that we have to do, right? So, W sitting, it does not allow you to move very well. It's very stable, so we're not using a lot of muscle engagement because I can just rely on the structure of the posture in itself to hold me up. And it makes it difficult to reach across our bodies. Reaching across midline is important because it helps to connect both sides of our brain. It's also important if you got something in this hand and you need to get something else over here, right? Or say you're holding a bowl and you go to pour something into it. Or you're stirring and you got to reach over here and get something to pour into it. Or writing, when you learn to write. If you can't cross across midline, it's actually pretty hard to write across a piece of paper. So all of these things kind of compound on top of themselves with W sitting. So we don't like it because there's a lot of things that can come out of it that prevent your kid or you, if you were that way, from really thriving and being able to move and be your best. Flip side of that coin, W sitting is a somewhat natural position for kids to explore. So if you see your kid sit in a W position, purely my opinion, some therapists will probably jump out of their skin and get mad at you. If you see a kid that's W sitting sometimes, It's okay. Okay, they're not gonna have like all this stuff. We worry when people hold postures for a long period of time, and that's the only position that they're getting in. So if your kid is sitting in a W position greater than 50% of the time, we might need to get them in. I would highly suggest getting them checked by physical therapy because that can really mean weak legs and hips, weak core, difficulty again using both sides of the body, which can have issues with coordination, sitting in a chair, handwriting, all of those kinds of things. Um, so if your kid is sitting in that W position and they sit with their butt between their feet more than 50% of the time, I would be concerned and would want to get them evaluated and kind of checked for anything else that might be going on. And then you can get really specific, tailored plans for how to address that for your kid because there's a lot of reasons that that can be why they're choosing that position. So it just needs to get investigated further. So W sitting, feet out wide, butt in between is not good because it doesn't really promote good mobility and good use of our postural muscles. And I wouldn't worry about it if your kid just occasionally or sometimes sits that way, but you see them sit in a lot of different ways and they move in and out of that position pretty frequently. If your kid stays in that position for extended periods of time, and I would say greater than 10 minutes at a time, if you've watched this video, you've seen me move around how many times and readjust my posture. So if your kid is holding that position and not moving out of it for greater than 5 to 10 minutes, I would just keep an eye on it for sure. Or if that is their preferred sitting position for greater than 50% of the time, they should probably get evaluated by somebody to see what needs to happen to kind of address that so that we don't have all these other issues of reaching across midline, weakness, difficulty with coordination, and other issues. So if you've got any questions, stick them in the comment box below. Let me know what you thought. Does your kid sit in the W position? Have you ever seen that before? Let me know below.